Classic Legends, a subsidiary brand from Mahindra, have brought out the Jawa. So let's get started with our motor vehicle review. Let's get started with the headlamps. Keeping the Jawa design intact, the work done on the bike's headlamps looks proportionate and has a nice modern retro touch to it. Also to be noted that the facial structure of the bike is supported with polished chrome bezeled halogen headlamps. Moving on to the instrument cluster, with the dial movements being placed in a different position, giving the bike a fresh appeal and a unique experience. A little bit more of metal could have been used to give it a more retro touch over the plastic needles. Now talking about the tank, with the use of the same iconic tank shape, which is a teardrop, that gives an appeal that makes the previous Jawa uses to connect to this product and also keep the modern look towards an end where the young customers is also attracted towards it. A 14-liter tank that gets proper hand pinstripes and also new colors that keep the Jawa fresh and yet retro. Jawa is actually getting both metallic and matte finish tanks, where the metallic surface attracts a lot of fingerprints and a matte surface is not that easy to maintain, with the stains easily getting attracted. Flowing down from the tank, we reach the seats. The seat is actually getting a narrower seating position for the rider and a wider section for the pillion. If you also notice, from the previous generation of Jawa, the thickness of the seat was really big, and now they have moved on to something which is more modern, aesthetically appealing, and also for the present generation. The seats are well padded and given a different type of stitching to give that retro yet that modern appeal. Now talking about tail lamps, drooping down to the simple structure that most of the other components of the bike gets. A simple and yet elegant tail lamp that reminds us of the old Jawa, accompanied by small shaped round indicators. With a normal bulb inside the covered red reflector, giving adequate lighting when the bike is ridden and braked. Moving forward to the rider's seating position, placed all upright cruiser style, bike is designed in such a way that the knees get bent and the hand is stretched towards the handlebar. Jawa 42 is designed to feel like a modern bike with clues of the past that makes the present generation enjoy the modern yet vintage feel. If you compare this bike to the older generation of Jawa, you can see that the modern generation has so many gaps that is covered up to make it more proportionate and more aesthetically appealing for today's generation. After seeing most of the components of the bike, it's time to take it out for a test ride. So, let's then talk about the ride and handling. Looking into the ride and handling, as soon as the rider is placed on top of the bike, it's all smiles, with an upright seating position and stretched out handlebars that the bike feels like a cruiser. Jawa gets a single piece handlebar and fixed with an offset instrument cluster. The instrument cluster shows the fuel indicator, the speedometer, tachometer. The initial impressions were a bit confusing as to what the bike was supposed to feel like. Maybe a lot of vibrations of a certain type of noise. The characteristics of the vehicle was all over the place. Mahindra made sure to use the Mojo platform, which is heavily tuned to give an output of a retro bike. The engine produces almost 27 horsepower and 28 Newton meter of torque, a 6-speed gearbox and also a liquid-cooled fuel-injected engine. The curb weight of the vehicle is around 170 kgs. The engine was giving a nice feedback for lower and mid RPMs. That's a good sign for inner city commuting. But it doesn't show much enthusiasm towards higher revs. So we can expect it to be a nice city commuter and a comfortable highway cruiser. This engine is being placed in a double cradle chassis. The front suspension being telescopic hydraulic fork and the rear being gas canister, a twin shock hydraulic. The vehicle suspension was towards the stiffer side and also gave good feedback while cornering. Even though the vehicle weighs around 170 kgs, it is easy to flick and quite fun to ride. As per the norms, the vehicle will get dual channel ABS. People who are going for rear drum brake can actually look forward towards a vintage spongy braking experience. Otherwise, the disc brake is a better option as it would give a nicer bite. There has been a lot of details that has gone into the making of this bike. Also, even with the noise, Jawa have worked really hard in terms of making a 4-stroke engine sound as close as the old Jawa. The engine noise while upshifting and also downshifting sounds great. It gives a real vintage feel towards the whole riding experience, yet keeping all the parts modern and also accessible. Jawa is all about the brand that makes you feel the colors, the shape, the feeling of riding long and the spirit of biking. There has been a lot of efforts that has gone in the making of this bike, an essence of an old brand, a feeling of refreshed yet a vintage connect towards it. Even though it is really difficult to get all the essence of the old brand Jawa, Mahindra have done a great job in getting out a really good product for today's young generation who still can get reminder of an older generation Jawa, and also the older generation who is looking forward to owning the modern Jawa. So we have reached a part of should you buy it? One thing is for sure, these bikes are like cruisers and are designed to look like vintage bikes. So if you are in a market for a bike that has a lot of history and the essence of riding looking retro yet having all the modern parts, Jawa 42 would be the bike for you.
Until then, don't forget to subscribe and like our channel.